Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're all having a great day. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not really sure what's taking place. But I think it's something weird. This is probably one of the weirdest news days I think I've had in a very long time. There seems to be a lot of delusional news going on. I'm not exactly sure. This not so much the first thing that we're going to go over. Not so much. But the rest of it is right. So, keeping up with the trend of the last 2 days, for those of you who've been missing it or simply are not aware, the spot Ethereum ETF approvals has set alight the minds and wonderings of a lot of people within the cryptocurrency space. People are now actively discussing when the next ETFs are going to roll out. It's very odd. I think a lot of it I know nearly all of it has to do with greed of some sort, or just not being content in life or otherwise, as everyone is constantly looking for the new shiny thing rolling down the hill. But now we have another instance of someone talking about and discussing what they think the next steps are for all of these things. I ask you in all true honesty if you can give me a reason as to, other than greed, as to why people are doing this and getting everyone so hyped for something that might not happen or might not happen for a while. Someone by the name of Godfrey Kendrick, an analyst at Standard Chartered, is speculating that it says the highly anticipated XRP ETF could launch in 2025, a year from now. The popular news is that everyone's discussing which coin is going to come next. We heard from, I can't remember, is some person on CNBC was sitting there who said the word Solana, and it completely, everyone lost it, as if this guy was Gary Gensler talking about that Solana was going to be the next ETF. And then we're getting a lot of speculation, and nearly specifically about XRP and XRP's potential future ETF. Following the approval of multiple spot-based Ethereum ETFs, there have been several speculations regarding when the SEC could approve a similar product for other crypto assets like XRP. Why is everyone focusing on the exact... No, and this backing it up a bit, it happens... This is, I guess, another form of blockchain antics. When you have one chain that says, we've created something called a smart contract, all the other ones also fall in line and say, hey, we also have smart contracts. If someone creates something called NFTs, every other chain says they also have NFTs. If every other coin has a DeFi platform, every other chain in the world also has a DeFi platform. So I think this is meant to be the next pinnacle that everyone's supposed to be looking for. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I find it very weird that people have so willingly allowed the traditional financial world to integrate into crypto and have essentially constantly given more and more control to the SEC. I think people see prices going up and they assume, okay, good thing, as opposed to being like, you're relinquishing constantly more and more control to Gary Gensler, as you basically allow him to if XRP is not a security, well, you're allowing a securitized version of the thing that you thought wasn't a security. And then even more so, all the XRP and Ethereum and Bitcoin that's out there, it's going to be just absorbed by the richest people on the planet, and then normal people don't even get a slice of the pie. But once again, I think a lot of people just don't care about other people, whether it be in crypto or otherwise. So this is how I think we got here. Interestingly, Standard Chartered's analyst asserted that an ETF for XRP could be a 2025 story. That's not how people talk. This implies that Kendrick expects the SEC to approve an ETF for XRP next year. Sure. Why not? I'm terrified of that still being the news sometime in January 2025. I think this news would be a lot more sense if the lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC was over. There'd kind of more or less be no other barriers in place, but cool. So not finding any time to celebrate our wins, or the fact that, we have what we have. We've been trying to get them for literally a decade, but maybe just so many new people in the market are just greedy as can be. I'm not really sure. Like, what are you expecting from an XRP ETF or a Solana ETF or a Cardano ETF or ETF? Because when every coin has an ETF, they're no longer really special. The reason why the gold ETFs were special is because only gold had the ETFs. So if everyone, okay. Anyway, cool. So let the speculation continue, because it's not going to stop anytime soon. Everyone's obsessed with the next thing. Not even, I don't get people. That's the XRP ETF 2025 news. Yeah, let's move on. Also in peculiar news, for those of you who missed it, a couple of days ago, Michael Saylor, for those of you who don't know Michael Saylor, he is one of the top 5 Bitcoin maxis on the planet, Bitcoin maximalists, who believe that Bitcoin is going to take over the world. You might remember, if you were watching the video, Michael Saylor predicted just a couple of days ago that there would never, ever be an Ethereum ETF, because he said that institutions didn't want it. He said that, only Bitcoin is the winner and yada, yada. But I mean, this is also the typical mentality of people who are, and I mean hyper Bitcoin maximalists. There's a way for you to dare I say love Bitcoin, but also have an understanding that because you like the color blue, that other colors don't simply cease to exist. Michael Saylor, the founder and chairman of American business intelligence and software firm MicroStrategy, is in the spotlight today. One visible trend is that despite the regular accolades he is always showered with, Michael Saylor, it says, is being dragged. That's quite intense. Being dragged for his recent take on Ethereum. The problem is, in all facets of life, especially within the cryptocurrency space, anytime that anyone says anything nice about something that you own, that person ends up getting popular. It's a trend that I noticed back in 2017 with all the little scam coins that began to pop up. If anyone mentioned, and I mean this was quite typical. Yeah, Ethereum's cool. I own Ethereum, but have you seen this brand new coin? And people kind of go completely insane for them. I think we have a constant rich person showering problem in the world, where just because someone is wealthy, and a lot of people tend to aspire to be these people who they will never be. That's not being mean. It's just literally you will never literally be Michael Saylor, but a lot of people look up to them for their prowess, their life. I'm not sure what it is. These people are human. They make mistakes. They don't do things correctly. And also a lot of times people do weird stuff. I think it's completely understandable from the viewpoint of a hyper Bitcoin maximalist like Michael Saylor that he would live in the delusion that there would never be an altcoin ETF. Which also doesn't make any sense, because I'm assuming that not only is he rich, but he has a yacht. I'm assuming that that yacht has gone to other places around the world. And he also, I was going to say, has newspapers, has the internet. And we've seen that other countries already, and have for the last 4 years, have had Ethereum ETFs. I wonder about a large portion of the planet who continuously just pays attention to what's happening within the United States. If you just rose your hand or said something smart back as I said those words, you're probably one of the people who I'm talking about. Because we constantly get into this situation where we hear, now if you following daily news, where a lot of people keep pretending that stuff is only happening within the States. And then when we get stuff like Japan and South Korea ruling over and dominating trading volume within the cryptocurrency space, it makes big news because people forget that those places exist. So not that I'm not knocking the fact that he said this. It was obvious that at some point, that could have been 2027, 2029, 2031, that we would have gotten an Ethereum ETF. And even more so, as I mentioned before, for those of you who weren't here, we are at some point going to have an XRP ETF and a Litecoin one. And it's just complete logic. It's just about popularity and how much money is flowing through these markets. That Michael Saylor is a Bitcoin maxi is not news. He took this narrative to a new level at the firm's Bitcoin for Corporations earlier this month. In his speech at the event, Saylor did not only eulogize Bitcoin, he stated categorically that Ethereum is a security. That's also, see, I know, history keeps on rhyming and it won't stop, and it's getting kind of like annoying at this point. So remember how I told you back in 2017? No, 95% of people in the crypto space in 2017 had no idea what a security was. I was not myself heavily into traditional finance. I loved ETFs and mutual funds and yada yada, but being able to tell you what a security was not in the vernacular of anyone within crypto. A lot of Bitcoin maximalists, specifically Bitcoin maximalists, saw that XRP was, a smidge away from becoming the number one coin in the market. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. And they began to spread the rumors that Bitcoin was X, Y, and Z, and that XRP was an unregistered security. The problem is that the SEC was already circling the waters, looking for ways to gain control over the cryptocurrency market. And it literally became this thing where idiots in the market just started mimicking what these Bitcoin maximalists, these people were holding altcoins. And they were just mimicking what Bitcoin maximalists were saying about XRP in an attempt to terrify people and to not hold XRP and to sell XRP so that it would not become the number one coin. And now that history is like heavily, is basically repeating itself over and over and over. And we've even gotten to the point where the SEC feels empowered enough to even say that every coin is a security. This is where it kind of always leads us, because we always look forward and follow these people. And if you've been following the channel, Michael Saylor always says crazy stuff. He says crazy stuff. Charles Hoskinson says crazy stuff. What's that other short guy, the really eccentric one? Babalu? What's his? This Max Kaiser. Yes. He they're all a little eccentric. I have a very sound theory. I have a feeling when you get your first $1 billion, I think the mind kind of goes. If you look at all billionaires, and really look at, listen to what they say, there's always something there. And I assume every extra billion you accumulate, I'll say the word eccentricity, you become more eccentric. It's not eccentric what I'm trying to say, but I think you understand. In his words, he said, anything down below the Bitcoin stack is a security. Also, he said Ethereum will not be approved. This summer, it will be very clear to everyone that Ethereum is a security. It will never be wrapped in a spot ETF. It will never be accepted by Wall Street. Does he not know how this works? If you get a chance, I've said this about 38 times in the last 2 years. Look up the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. It is a consortium. It is a group of around 400 or 500 companies, including JP Morgan, Intel, Microsoft, I think Uber and Lyft. That's also not a joke. You look at the list. They also have like a, what do you call it? Look up like images of it as well, because they'll show you all the icons of these companies, and it becomes, oh, I know that icon, like the symbols of these companies. Companies, not company, have been using Ethereum in mass since 2017. Wall Street accepted Ethereum a very long time ago. That was a large point of the hubbub of it being a security. And also, even more so, for those of you who don't know, none of these chains are securities. It's products that are built on top of them that should be considered securities, i.e., you have the Ethereum chain. It's a way to pass value, money back and forth. Cool, got it. If you build something on top of it that says, hey, lock your coins inside of this thing and we'll give you a guaranteed 28% per year for the thing that you're doing with this company, because that literally would fall under the 100. It is near 100 years old, the 100-year-old definition of a security, which is also fantastic because they decided what a security was before the masses had phones, computers, dishwashers, or computers. Or internets. So that's also something. No, Wall Street accepted altcoins nearly a very long time ago. He said Bitcoin is the one universally accepted institutional grade crypto asset. There won't be another one. So actually quite popular news, because I think mainly people are making fun of him. I would try and give a little, like, hey, cool it, guys. Don't make fun of him. He's just a person. But it's also like, you can't go on stage and say crazy stuff like that. It just doesn't, it literally doesn't age well. Cool. So I'm looking forward to the next eccentric thing that is said by a number of Bitcoin maximalists. I get it. Like, I understand that Bitcoin's cool and like Bitcoin does stuff. But I think the idea of the world only running on Bitcoin is the term, so the internet says, is delulu, because that's not, the world doesn't, we have the US dollar, but oh snaps, we also got the euro, the yen, the peso, and all the other names of the other monies out there. So cool. I assume Bitcoin maximalists are going to have a literal fit when an XRP ETF gets approved. I think literally are going to lose their minds. That's the Michael Saylor said something about Ethereum, and then it didn't happen because we got them news. Oakley dokley. Let's move on. So remember how I said a lot of the news today was delusional, and I don't know where it came from. Really. The things that people think about the market tend to be out there. Sometimes some of them can seem quite obvious, but no, I can't even say that sentence. So, also in the news today, in an interview posted on Thursday, Charles Hoskinson, you know where this is going. Charles Hoskinson called the Bitcoin following a religion and said that Bitcoin was unsustainable. Okay. Hoskinson, the CEO of IOG, a profit-oriented company that builds Cardano software, made this bold declaration in a recent interview and criticized Bitcoin's devout following, likening it to a religion, declaring that the crypto industry has outgrown its dependence on Bitcoin. I don't know where to begin. People who like their coins in crypto really like their coins in crypto. There are a lot of people who really like Cardano. There are a lot of people who, would throw themselves onto a blockchain for XRP. They really think it's like I've seen people on Twitter. I thought it was more of a 2018-19 kind of thing. There are people who love XRP and there are people who love Bitcoin. And I mean, like, it's to a point that I've never seen before. But and I say this, as long as you are not hurting anyone or lying or actively trying to do anything wrong, love your coins. Why not? Who cares? Allow people to live their lives. However, saying that the entire market has outgrown Bitcoin is probably one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen and heard and thought of and have read and have accumulated into my memory, probably as long as I've been alive. For those of you who don't know, or are simply maybe also Delulu yourself, Bitcoin is the market. I hear you. I see you folding your arms in anger. No. You don't actually understand how strong and powerful Bitcoin is. We've had this conversation since 2018. If Bitcoin ceased to exist right now, the entire market would collapse to zero. I know it's difficult for a lot of people to think that because a lot of people have been led to believe by coin creators that their coin is the answer. None of these coins are the answer to Bitcoin, and this is why Bitcoin is still the number one coin. Investors understand numbers. We know that, and I'll even go backwards. We know that XRP currently, I think does, 3,000 to 5,000 transactions per second? We've known this for a while. Ethereum is currently capable, I believe, several hundred since the last update. People know that Bitcoin can only do 3 transactions per second. It's not like miracle worker news. And despite that, we have the most robust blockchain that we've ever had and also a couple of years of a first mover advantage. The market is Bitcoin. If there was no Bitcoin, there would be no market. And this is another situation where I know people are going to try and disagree with me. Nothing you say will be able to convince me, because remember, every time Bitcoin goes down, the rest of the market goes down. I would tell you right now, if Bitcoin went into a free fall over a week period and dropped down by 10% every single day until Bitcoin's price was around 76 and nothing could stop it, not you buying, not any billionaire, it kept a constant free fall, your altcoins would become worth less than sand, literal dust. I don't know how to put that into any finer or clearer words. And for someone like Hoskinson, who's in this market, I think this is a theory. Over the years, a lot of people have tried to make coins and they haven't been successful. A lot of people have made coins and they've gained some level of success and popularity, but none as big or as large or as huge or as popular or as categorically blah, 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 as Bitcoin. I think a lot of times that the ego of billionaires gets in the way of what they like. If I had created Cardano and my coin was in the top 10 or top 20, I feel almost proud every single day that I had literally created a currency. The idea of me trying to downplay other coins in the market, because it's literally not a race. Cardano is never, now, here we go. Remember this video, because if I just pulled a Michael Saylor, please tell me about it in the future. However, Cardano will never become the number one coin. It is impossible for Cardano to ever become the number one coin. And I think this like spirit of, it's not entrepreneurship, it's constantly trying to one up or move ahead. Is it impossible to simply just sit there and go, I created one of the largest digital currencies on the planet. We have millions of people who are using it, and we are probably at some point going to go to a $300 billion market cap. Isn't that cool that I created this with my hands and my mind, as opposed to being like, oh, everything else in front of us is absolute garbage and we should be the number one coin. Cardano also has had a history of issues with like upgrading and updating where they just like don't. Now, in 2018, this was an issue because I kept on telling people, I was like, hey, other coins in the market keep getting upgrades and Cardano keeps stringing everyone along and it's taking a long time and everyone's like, shut your face, TMI, because blah, 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 A, B, and C. And then I remember I was making all the jokes in 2019 and I was like, hey, we have a test net, but it's green. We have a test net, but it's blue and it's purple, orange, and red. And they have like multiple test nets and it takes like 2 years for an upgrade to happen. Now understand, once again, I am not a developer, a coder. It's not for me. I tried. It's literally no, I don't want to. I cannot say how long it takes to code or make or create one of these fantastic currencies. However, you don't promise on a Monday something that's not going to happen until December 25th. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So Cardano has actually lost a huge amount of momentum in the market to a lot of other coins. And I think a lot of it is, as someone who goes over crypto news every day, it feels like a large portion of it is because of the, hey, we're going to do this, doesn't happen until 9 months. Hey, this is going to happen, takes 16 months to happen. And it's also, excuse my French here, it's also Charles Hoskinson constantly going on rants about things all the time. Remember the Ethereum rant? I remember him calling people in the XRP community names a couple of weeks ago because he was talking about that there was no collusion with the SEC and all this other stuff like that. I think someone called him a name, some nobody called him a name. He went off on them in like an hour-long video. It's always something. That's what I was saying before. I was like, I think when you become really rich, like something happens to the mind. If I ever become that rich and I become really weird, please tell me. Because, myself personally, I'd probably buy a bunch of buildings and I'd buy an island and I would just take me and my friends there and we'd probably party 24/7, 365. But apparently the way to go about it is to just talk nonsense about, I don't understand. I really don't get it. He said, and I do quote, "The industry doesn't need Bitcoin anymore to survive. This is not the year 2040, and even more so in 2040. He said, it's nice to have a digital asset like Bitcoin that has reputation and its digital goal. Remember, at the end of the day, it's a token with a deflationary monetary policy." End quote. Does he not know what what deflationary means, right? I'll tell you. For those of you who don't know, we live in an inflationary economy. The idea is that every year things have to get more expensive as you print more of something. So if you keep printing more dollars, the valuation of the dollar goes down, and therefore the price of things has to go up to match with the devaluation of that because of inflation. Bitcoin is special because it's deflationary. So every 4 years, there's a halving, and the amount of Bitcoin that comes out continuously dwindles down for, once again, the next 115 years. And this is interesting because if there is ever the hyper Bitcoinization of the world, if we move over to a Bitcoin standard, or if Bitcoin becomes really popular, the value of everything comparative to Bitcoin will go down. Let me explain. So you would see more money, more euros, more yen, more other assets being sold to be pushed into Bitcoin. So those people who hold Bitcoin would essentially be the winners. This is why have you wondered why we're seeing these $500 million per day moving into the Bitcoin market? It's because those who hold Bitcoin will be the wealthy people under a Bitcoin system, a hyper Bitcoinized world that we're clearly mathematically moving into. This means that as the valuations of other things fall and Bitcoin continues to rise in valuation comparative to other assets, houses that you want to buy, land that you want to buy, other assets would continue lowering in value. I told you before about the TV. You want to buy a TV, it's $2,000. You go see it next year, it's $1,800 because the value of Bitcoin. That's what deflationary means. And I put your hand down because I hear you already. Deflation is only bad for a government and its GDP. Governments and GDPs have been set up since the late 1800s to deal with a situation where more money is constantly printed. So even when we left the gold standard, it was kind of this way before. Things still got more expensive, but on a very slow basis. The idea is that every year you as a country want to print more money to show how much wealthier you are, to show how much more output that you have, how many more people have been born on your land, so you can say we have more people, we have more money, we have more production because we keep telling people to have kids, and therefore we have a higher GDP. It's literally just a way to show other countries I'm stronger and richer than you. It is also an incentive to not save money because you know that inflation is going to be there. The market that we're currently in is heavily pushing you towards spending your money. There is no saving in the current system that we have. Under a Bitcoin standard, you are incentivized to accumulate and to save your Bitcoin. Why? Because it's going to be worth more the following year, the next year, and then also the thing that you wanted to buy will cost less. Therefore, you're saving, you're protecting your future, and the things that you want to buy only continue to get cheaper. That's the idea of Bitcoin being deflationary. Look it up. It's quite fascinating. So him even saying that it's deflationary isn't bad. That's something that's the word would be propaganda that has been touted by governments for a very long time. It's the same exact idea with like money laundering. The idea of money laundering is bad to governments because it's capital leaving their borders. If you as a government do something wrong and people don't agree, they'll move their money. If everyone moves their money to another place at the same time, well, oh, now you're broke. So you have to make a system that says you have to tell us when you're moving your money because we need our capital controls to stay in place so that basically that money doesn't slide to another economy that is more favorable to people making money or lower taxes or what have you. This is what China does, and this is why you can't take any money out of the country. See how it all ties together? Yeah, it's crazy, right? Hoskinson pointed to Bitcoin's lack of adaptability and reliance on proof of work, as reasons for its endangerment. In the interview, he claimed that leading tech companies like Microsoft had to adapt to technological changes like laptops and cell phones to survive. Wow. So the news is, Hoskinson has said other words, and I mean, I'm a little exhausted talking about it because, I mean, at least he's not in the news as much as he was before, because some of the time I was like, oh gosh, dude, go to Switzerland, go have fun somewhere. buy a mountain. Like, just go do anything else. I don't understand. I think a lot of it is jealousy. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Cardano's never going to become the number one coin. Tell me if I'm wrong. Same, and I can tell you that for many other coins. There's a reason why 99% of what we get is Bitcoin news. I would not be as intense as Michael Saylor to say like Bitcoin's going to be the everything. But I mean, look at the literal digital writing on the wall. So this was also quite popular news because there were some people who agreed with him. But I mean, then you also have to like kind of ask the question, like, really? Like, am I really agreeing with these statements that were said? I mean, but this has been a conversation for a while. A lot of people don't understand that Bitcoin is the market. This is why, and this is why we have a problem with Solana and these other coins. The promise is constantly, watch this entire bull market. As new coins are released, look at their taglines. Ethereum replacement, XRP replacement. This is the new version of this. We're the better Bitcoin. It's something that's been happening for the better part of a decade now. And everyone keeps trying to lie and say that their coin is better than the other ones. Well, that's cool. Show me when you become the number one coin. That's the best thing. I don't care if you like garbage projects like Solana. I don't care if you love XRP or Cardano or dare I say Tron. Cool. Show me your coin become the number one coin, because I promise you I would make a 4-hour video talking about how amazing and spectacular that coin is. So anywho, that's the today was a bit rough. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot going on. That's the Charles Hoskinson says that Bitcoin is ancient technology and something or other and other words, and he said Microsoft and cell phones and laptops. That kind of Anywho, I hope in some way that you've enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.